Hello guys, what is going on? My name is Judah Games. I'm a Deepwoken YouTuber and I make builds that you guys like, and today I bring you a different kind of video. This one, as you can see, I'm on Deepwoken Builder, and that is because I am going to give you guys a guide on how to use Deepwoken Builders, and what we're going to do is use one of my previous builds as an example. So yeah, hopefully this video will be able to educate you just on how to use Deepwoken Builder in its entirety, and I'll try to break things down as much as possible. So, starting off, we're going to start up here. We have race, murmur, bell, oath, origin, and outfit. So races, we have all these races right here, and what these races will do is provide you certain stat points when you are starting off your build, which can be good if your pre-shrine requires you to use certain stats over other stats. Next, we'll go on to murmur. We have three basic murmurs: ardor, tacit, and rhythm. Hopefully most of you guys knows what those are, but if you're going PvP, ardor is probably going to be your best friend. Onto the bell, you have a lot of different bell options, but most of these won't actually matter if you're playing Chime, and if you're on sort of a PvP public server, public lobby type of build, then obviously these bells will matter. Now going for oaths play a huge part into what build will go. Like, I guess that didn't really make sense, but like oaths are very important. A lot of them have stat requirements, which can kind of tie into what race you go, what pre-shrine, what post-shrine, stuff like that. Now going into origin, not that many origins, but yeah, that's kind of irrelevant. Outfits, too many outfits to cover, but I'll have a link to like all the outfits in the game in the description. And for most of my builds, I'll try to be pretty specific on why I choose what outfit. So for this build, we're going to use my Attunementless Medium build that I used, and I'm going to kind of just give you a rundown why I choose what. So for the race, I choose none, and none can be unlocked by an echo modifier. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it costs 200 echoes, and it makes it where you can use any build, and it'll just remove the innate stat points that you have, which is really nice, because like Vesperians, for example, they give you that innate exoskeleton, which is really good for PvP, like Chime builds. But if you don't want to go, what does it give you? Let's see, Vesperian gives you Fortitude and Willpower. If you don't want to go Fortitude and Willpower pre-shrine, and all you have is a Vesperian, and you don't have this Echo modifier, you're kind of screwed. So, let's start off with my Attunementless build. I go 40 Strength pre-shrine. I also go 1 Fortitude. I go 75 Agility. No Intelligence for the build. I go 1 Willpower. I go 60 Charisma, and I go 1 Medium. So, looking at the start of this, you'll see that I'm power 10 and I have 2 points till I level up. So you might be wondering, why do I go what? So, to start off, I go 40 strength. Now, going 40 strength allows you to get a talent called Showstopper, and Showstopper makes it where anytime, inside when the cooldown's not present, anytime somebody rolls your attack, they will become stunned. And that can be really good in PvP because people roll a lot. Now, Fortitude, I go 1 because I'm going to go pretty high Fortitude post-shrine. Agility, I go 75 Agility. Now, a lot of people will see 75 of a stat and they'll kind of be confused because you have 75 Agility here. Let's go to the Deepwoken Talents website and let's go look for 75 Agility. As you can see, there is Down Comes the Claw, which is a really good talent, and there's also just Unbounding Agility. So, Down Comes the Claw, you don't need Down Comes the Claw for this build, but the really important thing is that once you Shrine of Order, the 75 Agility will turn into 50, and then you'll be able to get Jet Striker, because this build goes Jet Striker. So that's just why for some builds I tend to go higher stat orders than necessary, because post-Shrine, I'll need it for something else. Like how on my Iron Birch build, I went 85 Willpower, because post-Shrine, you get 60 Willpower, you can get a level 4 Gaze, etc. So yeah, that's what this build goes. Now I'm going to Shrine of Order, and we'll kind of break down the post-Shrine. So, once you hit Shrine of Order, this is what your stats are going to look like. I bring my Strength up to 30. I bring my Fortitude to 90 for Reinforced Armor. My Agility stays at 50. The Willpower will go to 40 because that lets me get Exhaustion Strike, as well as the 30 Willpower and 30 Fortitude for Perseverance. And then this Charisma, I don't touch it. The medium weapon goes to 85, and as you can see, I have 0 investment points left at the bottom. For the build, I go 6 Vitality, which gives me 60 extra HP. I go 3 Erudition, which gives me, I'm pretty sure it's 45, or it's 15% more tempo gain and 90 more ether. And then I go 3 Proficiency, which just gives me extra M1 scaling. So, now this is what our build is looking like. You may be wondering, oh, why do you go 90 Fortitude? Why do you go 40 Willpower, etc.? I just kind of explained that. If you look at your mantras, you can see that I can get a mantra called Exhaustion Strike, which is right here, and it has a 40 willpower requirement. Now, let's say I also wanted to get this talent reinforced armor. I would need all of these prerequisites, and one of them is perseverance, which requires 30 fortitude and 30 willpower. So by already going 40 willpower, I get this talent, and I get Exhaustion Strike, which is super strong. Let's see. Now we can, like, if you want to look at the builder's in my Discord server, so you can see my entire list of talents. But an important thing I think would be to mention that every talent has either a little exclamation mark icon or this yellow coin looking icon. All talents have, I mean, they either have it or they don't. But this yellow coin icon means that the talent is only gettable pre-shrine. So before you Shrine of Order, you can get this. Once you Shrine of Order, you cannot get this yellow coin icon talent. So if we go down, you see Golden Tongue, Cheap Shot, Air Counter, Encore. You can only get these before you Shrine of Order, but all the other ones that don't have that icon can be gettable at any point when you're making the build. Most of them are after you Shrine of Order, and then you get all your stats, you get your high stat points, then you can do that. So now that we have our talents, I mean, I'm not going to pick all the talents, but now that we have the talents, and then we have the mantras, it would be important to go over to the weapons. Okay, so now you can see that I have my actual build here. This has all the talents picked out, it has all the mantras picked out. So now let's go back to the weapons. So for this build, I originally wanted to use an Alloyed Katana, and then they nerfed the Katana critical, so I switched to a Kyr's Blade, and I do not regret it. So, let's say I have a 3-star damage Kyr's Blade with obfuscation. I mean, enchant right now, it doesn't really matter unless you're going to enchant that boost damage. But as you can see, you have your damage here, which is the raw damage you're dealing. You're dealing 39.1 damage. Now, with all modifiers, you'll be dealing 66 damage. And this is assuming that all these modifiers down here are active, which we'll get into. And then damage against 35% resistance is if you're facing an enemy that has, like, let's say 600 HP, but only 35% resistance. This is how much you'd be doing against them per M1, including mods. So including all your mods. So now, we'll move our way down, and you have the PvE is kind of irrelevant for this, but let's say Kyr's Blade, it just shows like all your types of damage, the chip, etc. So now you have rings. So usually your build will go 4 rings. I don't know why your build would ever go less than 4 rings because they just give you free stat points. So let's go ahead and pick the 4. I think I actually put it here. You run a Pestilence, Akira, Dawnfist, Maestro. You can't choose that here, but you can go Agility, Dawnfist. What was the last one? Akira, I think. So yeah. So let's just say like you have that, and then let's just go into Issue Ring for whatever's sake. Now after picking your rings, you'll notice at the top your damage up here kind of shifts. So now our damage went from 39.1 I think to 41. With all mods it went from 66 to 71, and against 35% resistance that also gained an increase. So that is how much damage you will be doing with all of your modifiers active against an enemy with no armor, and this is against an enemy with a reasonable amount of armor. 35% resistance is not that hard to get. So yeah, but that's with all of these modifiers inclusive. So now, whenever you're looking at a build, I think it's very important to always see how much damage you're doing without modifiers, because chances of you having all these modifiers active is pretty slim. I mean, Wyvern's Claw and Spinning Swordsman, how are you going to land a running attack if you're in the air? So when I'm doing this, I usually just like to go for the talents that I know will mostly be active. So let's say Speed Demon, you kind of always have Speed Demon. Manipulator only procs on the critical attack, so we can deselect that. Matador as well, that rarely procs. Tough Love is usually going to proc a lot. Last Resort, we can keep it on. We'll keep on Spinning Swordsman. We'll take off Wyvern's Claw. Underdog, if you go a physical kit, that will almost always proc. Reinforce, you should always be using Reinforce. Cheap Shot and Thresher Claws are always procking. And actually, I'll take off Spinning Swordsman just for the sake of it. So now, after we have on all the modifiers that are usually going to be on, you can see our damage multiplier went down. And that also changed up here. So now we're dealing 60 damage with all modifiers, and our damage against 35% resistance also went down. So this is how much damage you'd realistically be doing every M1, exclusive of like Wyvern's Claw, Spinning Swordsman, just those types of talents. So yeah, it's very important to make sure that you're keeping your eyes on this screen, because this screen is really the key to understanding how strong a build's going to be, because this is the number that you want to be looking at. So yeah, now we are going to explain the summary screen. So usually for my builds, what I try to do is keep a stat order. This will just kind of tell you what stats you should go first pre-shrine and then post-shrine. I also try to tell you what weapon to use, but most builds will only run one weapon, so they're pretty self-explanatory. Like if you have a Kier's Blade build, or I guess a Kier's Blade, you know, that could be switched out with an Aloe Katana, but if you have like a Kier's Winter build, like obviously you have to go Kier's Winter. Um, but what's really important besides these little notes area is the stats down here. So you might see 158 HP, 90 max ether, 15 max tempo. You're looking at this, you're kind of like, okay, where is this coming from? So let's just go down the list. You have 158 HP. Now, all of these stats are from your fortitude, your talents, like reinforced armor, which gives you 5 HP, and also your vitality. These three things impact. So let's say right there, where were we at? We're at 158. Let's put that at 1. As you can see, that goes down to 108. So I just lost 50 HP. Now if we put it back at 6, you'll see we're back at 158. Max ether, max tempo, tempo gain, that all comes from erudition. So for example, let's just go ahead and set our erudition to 0, and you'll see that we now no longer have those three stats. So let's go put that back. Moving on, we have passive agility, that comes from talents. Posture, that comes from talents. Sanity, that comes from your willpower. Carry load comes from your strength. Wildcard mantra comes from neuroplasticity, because I go neuroplasticity on this build. And blunt and slash armor come from padded armor and steel scales, which I think every build should run padded armor and steel scales. It is literally just free resistance. It's only 2. And another thing that would be important to mention is that when you're looking at talents, you'll usually see the max amount of talents you can have. This number right here changes based off of how many mantras you have. So if I take off Revenge, you'll see that went to 64 when it was just 62. And also, this area right here is assuming that you do the mantra and the talent quests, because there is a mantra quest that gives you a free mantra, and then you can turn that mantra into 2 talents. And there's also 2 talent quests that'll just give you 2 free like talent hands, which I can put links to those videos in the description below, just so you know how to do those. Those 3 quests give you a free 4 talents. So every build that you want to be compy should do those 3 quests. And then yeah, I think that's about it for the video. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below. I guess just like touching on boons and flaws, I think Scrapper is amazing. It gives you a free ace. The next one you can do, I do Steadfast because it gives me more like armor resistance. But a lot of people go Pack Mule if they want to pick up stuff. Some builds go Autodidact. It doesn't actually give you free points. Like, it doesn't give you more points for your build, which I used to think it did, but it doesn't do that. And then for the flaw, I almost always go Simple. I just like not having 3 flaws once my build's finished. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. I'm just trying to like make sure I touched on everything, but like the stuff up here, you know, it's not that crazy if you have this one if you have that one echo modifier. But then yeah, like mantras, you know, you get these green mantras from doing layer 2. You talk to that trainer guy. Weapons, I touched on all the weapons. And summary. So yeah, I think that's it. Tags up here are pretty insignificant. I mean, I try to like label my builds pretty accurately because this is the Jet Striker. It is meta, it's PvP, and it's Chime. Because this build, I've used this build in ganks before. It's really strong, but it is definitely a Chime build. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you found this video informative at all, please let me know in the comment section below. If you like videos like this that aren't just me playing Deepwoken and it's me teaching you about other things, I don't know what else I can do besides just teach you how to use Builder, but maybe I could do like an in-depth progression guide for maybe one of my future builds that I'm frogging. Maybe you could find that useful, see where I go on the map to kill what and get what XP. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and please drop a like. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. So take care.